What's up, y'all? This is your boy Gerald. It is, wow, it's Sunday, the 17th of November, 2013. How you guys doing? Good morning to those who are just seeing this, starting my day. I got, as I always do, I burn a candle for you. Notice the two flames. One's for your truth, one's for your spirit, because it's bright. See, I see your worth. I understand you because I am just like you. Let me put this down before I burn myself. But more importantly, I understand that you only desire to have a good life. So how you doing? What a beautiful, beautiful day here in Virginia Beach. I guess it rained last night. It's kind of moist. And I woke up this morning and I took a second. I can't believe, first and foremost, for those who've never seen my videos, my name is Gerald Davis. I am a life coach and an aspiring psychologist. In October 2011, I made the greatest decision of my life, and that was to submit and embrace my spiritual walk, to authenticate my life. And by doing so, I allowed my higher power, my Lord Jesus Christ, to have dominion in my life. But being that I walk in humility, I also know He is one of many names. So I don't get caught up in titles. I know who He is. I have a relationship with Him, and I hope you do as well. And if not, I just want to let you know right off the break, if you wish to have clarity in your life, you want to have the jagged edges in your spirit to be made smooth, and have harmony and balance in your mind, your thought process. I'm here to tell you, when you make the conscious decision to allow Him to have direction in your life, you will have the life that you intend. However, let me let you know something. Let me let you know on the top. Because I know a lot of times we get caught up and we allow things in our environment to keep us enslaved or at bay because we're afraid to allow ourselves to be vulnerable to the things that we really know nothing about. Let me tell you something. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, and I know sometimes people have a problem with that word because it means to be open. But see, without having that, you can't usher in growth. When you choose not to, you more or less foster stagnation. That is why we have the setbacks, and we go through some of the things that we go through, sometimes to a point that is repetitive. Only thing that changes is the packaging. Maybe the person, maybe the situation. But when you peel back all that, it's the same old thing, a setback. So, my question to you is this. When are you going to make the conscious decision to be happy? Because you won't find it outside. You'll find it in Him. Right? Right here. Everything about you is about your heart. And your heart is governed by your spirit. But if you don't have a connection with your spirit, then you've got to question this. Who is governing, or what is governing your spirit? Because your spirit is the compass of how you act. That is, and your reality is the connection of that act. See, it must first be fostered by thought. And that thought comes from being manifested. Well, how do you think it comes in here? It didn't just up and go, oh, I'm going to pick this up, I got a thought today. No. No. Everything you do is spiritually connected. But when you decide to look at it for what it is, you will have the clarity as it should be revealed to you. Now you gotta understand, I always tell my subscribers, because I believe that my subscribers all want the same thing, and that is personal happiness. They want to fortify their lives, and they're willing to do what is needed and receive the information that is true for them. Because as you already know, people can tell you anything you want, but it has no weight compared to what you truly need. So you've got to be willing to be open to receive it. Now, disclaimer on that. That is what fosters maturity. You said, well, how's that, Gerald? How's that foster maturity? It's quite simple. Because if you're using your discernment, you're going to place proper boundaries where it needs to be. Because because no one can do anything unless you allow it. So you have to be honest with yourself first. And I know that can be very challenging to some people because they don't want to look at the truth. They don't want to, because it's ugly, it's dirty, it's rough, it's not as they wished it to be. The reason why it's not the way it is because you haven't put no effort into it. I think we can all agree to this. Life does not owe you anything. What you put in it is what you get out. That also fosters your self-worth and value. That is what defines what is important to you. So if your environment or the element of your environment is not conducive or does not match to what you feel in here, you must first be honest with yourself and ask why you're doing what you do. Because no one can make you do what you do. That is a choice. You know, I know, looking back, I remember I used to use that excuse all the time when things were challenging in my life. Now, I've strived through my 44 years, yeah, I'm 44, to be a good dude, to be a good guy. However, I also found out that through my development, the things that would challenge me, I would allow my ego and my pride to compensate for the things I lacked. But would have the audacity to be mad because I didn't get the things I needed. Why? Because there wasn't enough in it. It wasn't enough in it. Come on now. So, I just wanted to say that right off the break. Now, to get back. So I'm looking, so this morning, as I always do, I start my day with prayer. I pray throughout the day. And I pray for you guys too, because you guys are extensions of me and I am extensions to you. Because I know that there was someone that spoke my name for change. And I probably will never know, but I will say this: thank you. Thank you. Because that is a selfless act to do. So if there is someone of significance May it be a family member, may it be a friend, may it be someone you work with that are having challenges. When you give thanks, speak their name, and may it come from a place of sincerity. Because see, you gotta understand something, y'all. God knows everything you're gonna do before you did it, because He knew everything before you took your first breath. Don't play. It's true. So I'm looking at my channel, and I'm truly humble because I don't have to do this. There's no financial gain in this, but I do it because my spirit requires me to. I have a very strong discernment, and I'm the first one to tell you right off the break, that I'm not a minister. I'm not. I'm still a babe in the Word too. I'm just like you. I'm trying to navigate my life as best as I can through God's direction. But I know that because He loves me so much, He's patient. Because I also know that the man that I'm going to become in the future, him, Dr. Gerald Davis, that's going to be a journey that I'm going to go on. And that's going to connect me with a lot of people. But I also know that when I stand in that place, when I look back at my life, I know that it would have been all worth it. Now the downside of that is there will be people and connections that will come and go. There will be shifts and changes in that dynamic. But that's part of growth, that's part of expansion. But just know that everything you do, you're accountable for it. Please believe it. You are accountable for what you say, how you act, and how there is a effect from those choices, because we have free will. Do not think because you are not in the company of a certain someone, or it is behind closed doors, that is not seen. Let me clarify something for you. Right off, I gotta stop saying that. I want to say right off the break. I want you guys to understand something, okay? From the sound of my voice, please, if you take anything that I have conveyed to you, know this: angels and demons exist. The devil is real. It's true. But see, the greatest trick the devil played was to convince man he didn't exist. Why? Because he's a coward. He's a coward. It takes integrity for someone to stand up and say, you know what? This is my conviction. This is what I believe. And this is what I'm about. That is why when people are not authentic and they use deception or have an underlying agenda, they never come correct. Because you have to come from a place of integrity to do so. Point blank. I mean, and excuse the language, I'm going to try real hard to convey it as best I can. I'm going to try. I really am, because I noticed lately I've kind of been like, it ain't my style. Like, for example, ladies, when you meet a man for the first time, you see the outer package of that man. And then you see what's connected to him, his accessories, what he's obtained, right? That first brings the attention to you, because you're connecting the physical with the material, which is never good anyway. But we're humans, we do that. But if a man was to come to you and say, hey, I find you appealing, and I find you so appealing that I want to sleep with you, just for a moment. I want to feel what that connection would be like. However, I don't want to grow from you. And I'm going to go about my business, and you going about yours. 9 times out of 10, you're going to keep it moving. But you can't fault that man, because he is speaking truth. But see, that's where those boundaries, self-respect and self-worth come into play, because no one can do what you won't allow. But a lot of times we try to convince ourselves of something that does not exist to compensate for the things that we lack, because we already know we are our own worst critics, and the last thing we want to do is be a hypocrite. That would be too real now, wouldn't it? Okay. That was just my point. So, I'm looking at all my videos. First of all, right off the bat, I give thanks and praise to God, because it's someone that told me 2 years ago, you're going to be on the internet talking to your laptop about a spiritual nature, and it's going to be very dear to your heart. Excuse me. I would have been like, what? Are you serious? Man, I ain't got time for that. I gotta go make my paper. How wrong I was. Because I realized I was not in control of my life. Now, from a physical standpoint, yeah, you have dominion over that. It's your body. But from a spiritual nature, I knew that I have no control over that. God fully had control over my life, or your higher power. And the more and more I embraced Him, the more and more clarity that I received. The more and more understanding that will come from lessons that I had learned from past. Even to the point of asking for forgiveness for things I had no control over from my past. See, that's the power of forgiveness. And I think my spirit is telling me to throw this out there right now. If you are wrestling with something, yeah, I'm talking to you. That's right, dude. I'm talking to you. If you're wrestling with something that really, really shook you from your childhood, you gotta let that go, brother. Let it go. Doesn't mean you gotta forget it, but you have to forgive it. You have to. Your growth and development depends on it. I mean, think of it like this. That's kind of like being chained to a wall, but the front door is open. You just want to get out that door, but you only but so far can get to it because you're being held back. You know what I'm saying? That chain won't let you get to it, but you want it so bad. See, growth is on the other side, but you already got the keys to unlock that chain. So if you're turning around milling You're milling over the things that you fell short on. You're milling over the things that the worst thing that you want to do is live in the past. Like you have not grown. They're your memories. You're going to take them wherever you go, good or bad, but those serve as a point of reference. But if you don't see any growth from that, you got to also look at why. And you got to own it. If you're not in a place of where you see that your life should have been, first of all, stop beating yourself up. Stop it. You need to sit down, own it, and say, you know, I'm not where I thought I would be at this time. However, this is why. However, I can do this to show progression and commit to it. Like when I hear people say, hey, there ain't no jobs out here, right? I'm going to use that for example, right? Why isn't there any jobs? Here's my point. Because last time I checked, there's always a McDonald's. There's always something that's hiring. But because of your ego, that ego will set you up so that you don't do anything. And little do you know, when you turn around and humble yourself, because if that's not your end-all be-all, let it be your transition point so it can be. So it can propel you to where you need to be. Little do you know, there may be a connection at that job that you need to grow from that will spawn a creativity within your being to take a direction needed. But until you allow yourself to stop fooling yourself, ain't nothing worse than for someone to convince themselves that their life ain't worth it. That you turn around and say, well, you know what? This is all I'm going to be. I'm never going to be with anybody. I'm never going to have what I needed. And I just got to accept. You don't accept nothing. Don't. Because I'm going to tell you what. Your higher power didn't bring you on this planet to suffer. I don't care what anybody says. You're not cursed. You just made bad choices. So when you going to start loving yourself? When you going to start seeing your worth? I mean, when you going to do that? Nobody can get you out of that position of change until you decide to stand up. Stand up. Because I'm going to tell you, and I firmly believe this. The people that have your best interests, don't you think they're doing the work themselves? They're growing. That's what age is all about. But if you're aging physically and not balanced emotionally and spiritually, you're off balance. And your life is not going to be the way you intended. You've got to put it back where it needs to be. Even if you got to take a step back. I highly recommend this, y'all. If you are in this cycle of being a serial dater, and everything. Now, first of all, I want y'all to know something. Everything that I speak is because I can relate, because I done been there. And the one thing I've come to learn now is if I had someone that would have sat me down, 20, 30 years ago, I'm gonna tell you right now, right off the bat, I know I would have been a multi-millionaire. I'd be very rich, very, because I'm not ignorant by no means. I'm very, very intelligent. However, because I didn't see my worth and self-esteem, I allowed my fears to consume me and make choices that could have been avoided. So every day that I get to wake up and give thanks to Him, every day as I give thanks, I also give thanks to my angels and spirit guides. Because I'm going to tell you something, y'all. You've got angels and spirit guides encamped around your life. Because you can't see them, don't mean that they're not there. The more you embrace your spirituality, the more you'll connect to them. Because guess what? They're going to give you signs to let you know that they're there. It could be through a series of numbers, like my number. And I don't want to go off tangent, but for some people, they understand numerology. And I understand it too. And I know that my number that's connected to me is the number 8. And when I sat down and looked at my life and did the work to understand the education behind numerology, little did I know that everything I did has an 8 connected to it. Everything. 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 Everything has an 8 connection to it. But as you already know, the 8 represents what? It's never broken. And if you turn it on its side, it's what? The infinity sign. That means it's ongoing. But you know what it also represents? It represents God. Because God is love. Unconditional love. Never-ending love. Don't you deserve to be loved? Because see, the more and more you connect to Him, the more and more that connection is going to resonate from you, and things will change. Now, here's a disclaimer out of that. The more and more you embrace your spiritual connection with your higher power, those that don't have one, you ain't going to be able to be with them. That's going to be one of your greatest challenges. And you won't have to do nothing. Because guess what? It'll be so obvious because they can't get you. They won't be able to understand what's coming out your mouth. They won't understand how you have changed. And it's going to frustrate the heck out of them. Why? Because they're going off the reference points of who you once were. See, anybody can change, but you got to validate why you change it. And if you're changing because of convenience, all you're doing is wasting your time. You're wasting the essence of your spirit. That is why it's very important that you have boundaries in your life. One of the other greatest lies ever told that society likes to spin out is, especially unfortunately to you, my queens, society has convinced you to believe in this thing called fairy tales. That your knight in shining armor is going to come and rescue you out of your dilemma. No, doesn't happen. That's a myth. However, because God loves you so much, if you trust Him and make the changes that are needed to authenticate your life, He will position you so that that interaction will happen. That's where like-mindedness is validated. That is why you have the friends that you have. Haven't you noticed, if you're not taking a position to grow, your friends ain't growing either? Or to do one better, If you got friends that are making choices that are not in their best interest and they're skating through life, they can't gravitate to you unless you also have a mindset similar. Because real recognizes real. Now that's nor here nor there. So to get back to what I was saying earlier, so I was looking at my videos, just looking at everything that I put out, and I was very, very humbled because I never thought in a million years I would be doing something such as this. But I've also come to give thanks because I know that somewhere there is somebody that needed to hear the words that came from my mouth. And those words are done selflessly. Selfless, not selfish. Because there's no hidden agenda from me. You know, and I think as a people, we need to connect. We need to speak on the things that are important. We need to commune. Now I'm going to say this too. Don't get caught up in the hype with, you know, I know some of you may be thinking, well, that's one of the reasons why I don't want to go to church. Because there ain't nothing but a bunch of hypocrites up in there. There are people that be up in the club doing some foul stuff and have the nerve to show up Sunday as if they are lily white. First of all, I want you to understand something. The church is only a structure. It's a structure. Yes, it would be great that you can fellowship with people, like-minded people. However, the number one thing that you need to do is not judge no one. Because when you decide to take a position of judgment, you're saying, I'm ready for review. And I know that just like everybody, if your life got put on the spotlight, there'll be a lot of things that you don't want to come out. Because it would be very embarrassing. So stop judging people. Hold yourself to a higher standard. But make sure that standard is of love. Validate yourself. That's why there is a difference between followers and leaders. But then there's an exception of the few that are trendsetters. What you do not want to do is do what the popular do. The flavor of the month. That's why I tell you, my queens, and I'm adamant of this. And I'm going to continue to say this because it needs to be said. My queens, stop hiding your crown. Stop it. Every time, I know you like versatility, but every time you take it upon yourself to hide what God gave you, you're basically saying you made a mistake. And you're not a mistake. Everything about you is beautiful. Everything that you may think is an imperfection is a blessing because it's one of a kind, which is also a direct correlation of your self-esteem. So what are you hiding? What is it that is, what or who convinced you that you are not beautiful in your own right? And as long as you keep allowing your self-worth to be measured by social standards, you'll never be happy. You'll never be happy. Hey, I think even Mary J. Blige said it best. accept me for who I am. So, if you want someone to truly, authentically validate you, you first validate yourself. Hey, I'm all for self-expression. But when I've seen situations where, you change your eye color, you change your hair color, you change the texture of your hair. Why? Is that a mask that you want to use as a boundary so that if you make choices that are not in your best interest, you can say, well, that wasn't me, that was my alter ego? Stop doing that, sweetie. Because I'm going to tell you something. Here's something you might not know. The man that's intended to walk with you in your life, he's not going to see that. He's going to see, he wants the person that you really are. He can care too. He don't care about that. I also told you this. Ain't nothing more sensual for a man to be able to rub his hands on you, to take his hands and caress your scalp, feel your neck, to feel the curves and stuff. That's what stimulates us as a man, because we're physical. That's why men respond the way they do from a physical standpoint. But when it's to the point where it's crass, it's because that person has no control over their lives. So they're very rough. And they speak it because that's who they really are. But you still have the responsibility to put boundaries on who has access to you. If you don't get mad or complain for the events that will transpire. And I know that you're not ignorant. You know the outcome. So don't put yourself at risk. Respect yourself. My kings, until you make a conscious decision to live right, you will be never looked at as a man. You define your name. That is why society has the problems that it has now. Because you've chosen to take a route of one that is not ready. To the point that our queens have lost faith. And some, depending on where they are in their lives, have taken it upon themselves to do it without you. Only to find out in the end they shouldn't. It's time for you to take your rightful place. If you don't want to be looked at as a little boy, then stop acting and making decisions like one. I ain't got to tell you that. I mean, how can I respect you if you don't have your pants where they should be? Men don't do that. We wear belts. No excuse on that. Handle your business, brother. Because if you don't handle your business, someone will come along and handle it for you. And that's real talk. So, as I look back and give praise and thanks for everything that I've conveyed, I want each and every one of you to know that I'm growing with you. You're not alone. I've conveyed this. If you're going through something challenging and you want sound advice, unbiased, feel free. Just drop it right here. We can get you back on track. But you first must be honest with yourself. You can't take approach of having your cake and eat it too. Because you know when a person that takes a position of that, what happens to them? They don't even have a cake. And if they think they have a cake, that cake is actually spoiled and not edible. Because they've allowed it to go bad. But just know this. Every experience and challenge that you're going to go through is for a reason. It is for your development. And it's to propel you to where and what the future has in store for you. So the sooner you start, the sooner you'll get there. Do not worry about the things you do not have control over. Stop doing that. Put your trust in your faith. And let your higher power guide you. And the more that you allow yourself to trust Him, the more and more He will reveal to you. I mean, in other words, think of it like this. Think of your life like you're in a hallway, right? It's pitch black. You can't see what's in front of you. But you've got a flashlight. That flashlight serves as your faith. That's why it's light. And as you project it out, things are made visible. And the more and more you focus on that, the brighter and brighter things may become in time. Now that light is not going to illuminate everything because it's not meant. There are things in your life that you ain't ready to see yet. You're not prepared for it. This is like going out and buying a car and you ain't got no way to pay for it. Eventually, they're going to take it back. So, do what's required where you are at that moment. Be honest with yourself. Embrace the journey. As you're going forward in your life, make time for yourself to reflect where you've been. Look at the connections that you've gained and fostered through this time. And also acknowledge the ones that are not there. Give thanks. Because usually 9 times out of 10, they didn't have your best interest anyway. And that was a boundary issue. So just know this. I've come to learn this. Your higher power will systematically place people in your life for you to receive knowledge. It is your responsibility to receive it. But if you start to see a pattern where there are certain people in your life, no matter what is being revealed to you, you've got to learn. You've got to truly see it for what it is. Good or bad, they're tied to your life. They're for your development. Now, what you do with that information and knowledge that is being divinely given to you will define your outcome. That's why I'm a firm believer. Players never win. They only end up being played. Because, see, if you don't respect yourself, life is not going to respect you. If you're frivolous with your body will be frivolous to you. If you choose to lie about how you feel, life will lie to you. Because energy out is energy in. So make sure it's pure. You guys got to understand. Now, let me backtrack. Because I feel in my spirit somebody's saying, Gerald, I want to just go to church and repent. That's good if you choose to do so. But know this. You can repent right where you are now. You can atone for every choice that you made that was not in your best interest right now. By you going out into the public forum to do so, that is your choice and free will. But you got to ask yourself this: are you doing it for them? Or are you doing it for you? Because if you don't have a spiritual connection, you're wasting your time. You're just going through the motions, and you'll never feel fulfilled. So therefore, it's always imperative to be true to yourself first. God loves you. He does. He does. But you've got to allow Him in your life. Because I know that living on this planet can be challenging sometimes. But if you keep the faith, keep pushing forward, you will have the life intended, and it will be oh so sweet. That's why I tell everybody, anything worth value is worth the sacrifice. So in your environment, the things in your environment, if it doesn't validate who you are, then it doesn't see its worth. And you're just doing time. Why are you doing that? Don't do yourself such an injustice. Don't do it. Well, I'm going to get off my soapbox. It's been 46. But lastly, give thanks, y'all. Give thanks to where you are. You can change your life if you want to do it. Have courage. The more you invest, the more you'll receive. So start loving you. When you decide to remove the ego and the pride to see clarity, you will actually understand and be able to see your purpose and understand why you are on this planet. Because everybody's here to do a job. But no one can do it but you. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. Be it safe. I hope that... I just want you guys to know I'm very, very humbled that you guys allow me in your life. And you're not alone. You're not. We're going to get there. But you got to do the work. You know, I say it all the time in my prayers. I ask God to heal the things that are broken, reveal the things that are hidden, and give me understanding for the words that were conveyed that I didn't understand. See, I put trust in Him, but He can't do the work. You have to do the work. But if you allow yourself to allow Him to guide you, I'm going to tell you, y'all, you're going to come into your season, and it's going to be so worth it. But unfortunately, as you come into your season, there are going to be things you have to let go. You have to let it go, because if you don't let it go, you can't foster change. And everything will be done in vain, and your life is not one of them. So, always put God first in everything you do, or your higher power as you claim Him to be. And He will do the rest, okay? Don't worry about the things you have no control over. Stay prayed up at all times. Because I'm going to tell you what, the devil's work is never done. He's going to bring, every time he sees an opportunity to turn left or right, he's going to try to catch you slipping. He's going to try to catch you slipping to see if you've learned the lessons that you need to learn. Don't give him that foothold. Don't do that. And as you already know, he will use people, situations, and events to keep you distracted. Love yourself more. Put God first in everything you do, and you will stay protected. If you have any questions or concerns, by all means, guys, hit me up. I would love to hear how you're doing, and if there's any way I can assist you, I'm here. Okay? I'm also on Google Plus too. You'll see me. So, have a blessed and safe and protected weekend. I hope your week is calm, as best as possible, and I look forward to talking to you and hearing from you possibly next week. As I always say, God is praying for you. You know I am. Stay blessed, y'all. Hope you have a blessed week. Bye.